With real estate prices so high, it makes sense that everyone wants to time the market perfectly. The problem though is that with so many moving targets, how do you actually do that? And of course, the big question is always, should you buy a home now or should you wait until interest rates drop? And what if they don't actually drop? Making the right decision can either save you or cost you tens of thousands of dollars. On the one hand, buying today means, well, you're going to lock in at the lower purchase price. However, if you wait for potential lower interest rates, well, you might see smaller mortgage payments. And it's a tough decision. It leaves a lot of people unsure about which direction to go. And so in this video, I'm going to explain the hidden risks and the rewards of buying now versus waiting. And at the end of the video, I'm going to share with you 6 crucial questions that you can ask yourself to help you determine whether you should buy now or whether you should wait. But before we get started, if you're new to this channel, my name is Glen Hopkins and I create videos all about Canadian real estate and my local market of Surrey and White Rock, BC. So if that's something of interest to you, please go ahead, subscribe to the channel now, and that way you won't miss out on any of my upcoming videos. And also, if you'd like my help with either buying or selling a home here in my local area, go ahead and click on the link in the description box below and you can schedule a call with me. And of course, if you're anywhere else in Canada and you need a referral to a fantastic agent, don't worry, I've got you covered. I know amazing agents throughout the country and I can gladly connect you with them. Let's start by looking at what happens if you buy a home now. So for an example, I want you to imagine considering a house that costs $700,000 and a current interest rate for a mortgage of 5%. Now, a common down payment is the minimum requirement, which in this case would be $45,000. The minimum down payment, by the way, is calculated at 5% on the first $500,000 of your purchase price, and then an additional 10% on the remaining $200,000. This leaves you with a $655,000 mortgage to pay off over time. And with a 5% interest rate on that mortgage, your monthly payment is going to be about $3,513. Now, there are some clear advantages to buying now. First off, you're going to lock in the price of $700,000, meaning you avoid any future price increases. Secondly, as you make your payments, you own more and more of your house over time, which is a good investment if your property increases. And more often than not, it does in fact do that. And now finally, entering the market now, it's going to mean that you start benefiting from any future property increases immediately. However, there are going to be some disadvantages too. Now, the main one is that if interest rates do decrease in the future, you're going to be paying more each month compared to those lower rates. So let's see what happens if you decide to wait for 1 year in hopes that interest rates are going to drop. Now, during this year, let's assume that the house price is going to increase on average about 6%, which means your $700,000 house is now going to cost $742,000. And let's assume that you also managed to save an extra $10,000 during this year. So now instead of a $45,000 payment, you're going to need to have a $55,000 down payment for that same house. The minimum down payment for a $742,000 is going to be $48,400. Now, if the interest rate drops to say 4% next year and you buy the house for $742,000 with a $55,000 down payment, you're going to need to borrow $687,000. Now, with a 4% interest rate, your monthly payment, it's going to be about $3,278. In this case, waiting has its advantages. A lower interest rate means your monthly payments will be lower, saving you money each month. Additionally, having more money saved means you might not need to borrow as much, which in turn lowers your monthly payments. However, there are some significant disadvantages. In our example, the house price increased to $742,000, meaning you're going to need to borrow more money. Also, in order to satisfy your lender, you might need to save even more money for your down payment in order to keep the same loan to value ratio. And to be completely realistic, house prices could very well increase even more than 6% in just 1 year. So here's the important question. Can you save money as fast as house prices go up? In our example, the house price increased by $42,000 in just 1 year. Now, for most people, saving an extra $10,000 or more in a single year on top of their regular expenses is really hard. And the real clincher is that even if you do manage to save that much more money, it still might not be enough to keep up with rising house prices. So all that said, I highly recommend that you speak with a mortgage broker and go through each of these scenarios very closely. And if you need a referral to a great mortgage broker, just let me know and I'll gladly share that with you. All right, so let's recap both the pros and cons of each of these scenarios. Buying now means that you lock in at the current price. You start building equity immediately and you avoid higher future prices. However, you face higher monthly payments due to the current interest rates. While waiting means you get lower monthly payments if interest rates do in fact drop, and you'll possibly have a larger down payment. However, you're going to face higher home prices, the need for a larger down payment, and the risk of even higher future prices. So deciding whether to buy now or wait, it's going to depend on a few things. First, you're going to want to consider your current financial situation. Can you afford higher monthly payments now? And do you have enough for your down payment? Secondly, you want to think about future market conditions. Do you think housing prices will continue to go up? Are you confident that interest rates are going to drop? Third, consider your personal goals. How soon do you want to own your own home? Are you ready to move now? Or, can you possibly wait a little bit longer? So important considerations include the market trends and interest rates. If the real estate market is hot and prices are rising quickly, waiting could cost you more in the long term. And predicting interest rates, it can be tough. They might go down, but they could also stay the same, or potentially they could even go up. So if we break down the risks and rewards, the risk of buying now includes market fluctuations where if the market slows down or prices drop, you might end up paying more for a house that is actually worth less. Now, the reward of buying now is immediate ownership, starting to build equity right away, and locking in today's prices, protecting you from future increases. Looking at the risk of waiting, it's going to include the risk of price increases, where, as we've seen, a 6% increase means paying more money for the same house. You might also miss out on good deals or homes that are available now that might not be available to you in the future. So the reward of waiting, it includes potentially saving in interest rate drops, saving on monthly payments, and having more time to save for a larger down payment, thereby reducing your loan amount. To decide which option is best for you, start by evaluating your finances and answering these key questions. Number one is, do you have enough for a down payment and for emergency funds? Number two, can you comfortably afford the monthly mortgage payments? And number three, is your job and your income stable? Now, if you're not sure about the answers to any of these questions, your mortgage broker can definitely help you get those answers. Next, you're going to want to consider your timeline. So number one, ask yourself, how soon do I need to move? And two, are you okay with waiting for a little bit longer? And of course, it's also crucial to understand the current market conditions. What's happening right now with your local real estate market? And are prices rising fast? With the help of your realtor, you're going to want to keep an eye on all of the economic indicators that might affect the interest rates and where they're headed. So deciding whether to buy a home now or wait until interest rates potentially drop, it's a big decision, and it involves looking at not only your financial situation, but also understanding market trends and, of course, considering your personal goals. And by carefully weighing the risks and the rewards of each of your options, you can make a more informed choice. And there's so much more to know about buying and selling a home, including finding the right neighborhood, knowing the types of houses to avoid, and of course, understanding closing costs and so much more. So make sure that you watch some of the other videos that are popping up right now on your screen to help you make the right home buying decisions. And remember, go ahead, leave a comment below, share your thoughts, share your experiences. I'd love to hear from you. And of course, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. Otherwise, I will see you on the next video.